wolds now on some heavier ground. One thing I don't know whether I've mentioned already, but there are a number of crops due to that dry spell. A lot of the nitrogen went on early March right the way through April, and any crops that have not received the full amount, it comes into question as to how many or how much green material is there to feed. A lot of crops will have shed tillers. I'm pretty convinced of that when you look into some wheats and barleys. So in actual fact, there isn't as much green material to feed as there would have been, given that we'd got a reasonable amount of rain earlier on. So it begs the question, if anybody's still got 30 or 40 kilograms to apply as a top-up, is it worth it? And that's a question that you can only answer when you look at individual crops in the way of assessing what green material is there to feed. But how much of the original nitrogen, or any nitrogen that's been applied since early March, has actually got into the plant? And looking at the colour of some of these crops, there's no doubt whatsoever that all that nitrogen hasn't been utilised and probably still sits there waiting to be used by the plant. Certainly had no rain to wash it through the soil profile and out the drains, and there's been no moisture to activate it from the plant's point of view. So has it used it? Difficult question to answer, and I think it's case by case. Is the crop destined? Is it a quality wheat destined for high protein wheat, if you like? In which case, I think that top up will still be valuable to boost proteins. But we'll wait and see. Again, case by case, I guess. But all these decisions have got to be made. I don't know the proportion of crops that have actually had a growth regulator. If we keep getting these showers, warm soil conditions, what's that going to do for stem elongation? Is the plant going to produce a lot more height at this point? Is that excessive growth, that rapid growth, going to create weakened stems? I would say that's a possibility. But if it doesn't, and we're left at the end of the day with a shorter plant because of these conditions, then it sort of begs the question, okay, shorter plant, diseases like Septoria tritici, it can climb to the top of the plant even quicker because it's got less distance to travel and it's spread by rain splash. Some of these storms will be producing the ideal sort of progression, if you like, of tritici up the plant, but it can reach the top pretty quick if it's a shorter plant. What straw price is going to do this time? I think there's certainly going to be a lot less straw about, and that could put pressure on prices. If it does, I was sort of torn between chopping the straw and reincorporating that up at Carlton, but you're always led by the purse strings, and like last year, straw prices were pretty good. You're always tempted to add that to the income stream rather than plough it back in, but we'll wait and see on that one. My feeling is at the minute that there will be less straw, and therefore it's another cost for combining. Sell it in the swath, what do you do? I don't know, but returning it back to some of these thinner soils over time is going to pay dividends in putting both P and K back and increasing organic matter, because right now some of these soils we are depleting in the way of organic matter, not least for which we tend to over cultivate, introduce too much oxygen into the soil profile, along with the organic matter, which is carbon. So simple chemistry, carbon, C plus O2 produces CO2, and that's where a lot of these organic matters are flying out the soil in the way of carbon dioxide, and we're losing it. And I'm afraid if you judge the soil to be the stomach of the plant, if you like, and we're not looking after the organic matter, the impact of that is enormous on all sorts of nutrient uptake, soil structure, these sort of things. And it's been my opinion for a long time that because we've got less staff on farm, gone for bigger equipment, bigger horsepower, bigger weight, and it really doesn't matter what condition the soil's in, and that's maybe an overstatement if you like, but we can beat soils into submission with this big heavy tackle, but that as a consequence does nothing for soil structure, which is critical for plant growth. There's a big difference between compaction and consolidation, and whilst the roots do need to breathe, they do need oxygen down there, creating light, fluffy, oxygen-filled soils has a consequence, and that is the depletion of organic matter. So maybe min-till, maybe even direct drilling in some circumstances. The trouble is you need so much kit for every eventuality, it becomes cost prohibitive. So particularly where soil types vary such a lot in the field and between fields, different areas have different variation. But we'll see. The one thing that we are looking at and have looked at through autumn drilling last year and spring drilling this year is the application of nutrients on a fairly broad acre basis for cereals, looking at introducing some of the trace element nutrition with and without some of the macronutrition, i.e. nitrogen, phosphate and potash. And certainly on some of the lighter soils where we've drilled applying these at the same time as drilling in with the seed, the differences in plant establishment has been absolutely unbelievable. So we're progressing that one, and be good to get to next autumn and do more work on that, but we'll continue to monitor the results there. But so far the news just keeps getting better and better in relation to treated versus untreated.